I'm pleased to be joined by Penn State head coach James Franklin. Coach, how you doing?
Awesome. Appreciate you having me.
Coach, year 10 at Penn State, if you can believe it. Reflecting on the first 10 years or going into this 10th year, what have you learned about yourself as a head coach at Penn State?
Well, first of all, to your point, it's crazy. 10 years in college football is pretty unique. So I'm excited about that. I'm proud of that. I think about where the program was when we got here and where it is now. Won a Big Ten championship, won 3 New Year's Six bowl games, finished number 7 in the country, preseason somewhere 7 or higher, in one of the best divisions in college football. So I'm proud of what we've done. We still have work to do and goals to accomplish at a place with really high standards and expectations. But I'm proud and I'm excited about this year opening with West Virginia.
I'm curious, Coach, you mentioned one of the toughest divisions in college football. You had 2 teams from your division make the college football playoff. How close do you think you are to Penn State being one of those teams that makes the college football playoff?
Yeah, again, when you finish the season ranked number 7 in the country and you're preseason 7, and to your point, you got 3 teams in our conference, all in our division, all inside the top 10. It's competition, and you're close. You're as close as you possibly can be. We played Ohio State last year. We're winning, the middle of the third quarter. We got to find a way to finish games like that against really talented opponents. We got Michigan at home this year. We got Ohio State on the road. They're obviously going to be really critical games for both of our programs.
It's hard for me not to circle that game that you have against Ohio State on the schedule this year. But I'm curious, after watching us really lose our minds about the performance that one of the defenders had at Ohio State, how did you all assess your play, especially finishing those last 2 quarters of that game?
Well, again, I think we played really well for the majority of the game, but not for the entire game. And when you're playing an opponent like Ohio State with the talent that they have, you got to sustain it. And that's not just as a team, but that's also as individual players. So, I got to give that kid a ton of credit. He played extremely well and made huge plays. But I think there's also some things that we could have done to make it more challenging on him.
Is Rhule experienced enough to lead your football team this year?
Well, we'll see. We got a quarterback battle going on like we do at every position, like we did last year when Sean was the presumed starter. But yeah, he's got a ton of talent, big, strong arms, 6'5", 242 pounds, more athletic than people think. He's much more athletic now than he was last year at this time. There's a lot of excitement about him. I get it based on recruiting rankings out of high school and what he did in the 10 games he played in last year. So we'll see how camp and the season evolves.
With respect to your Big Ten title team, I'm looking at the roster that you have constructed for this season. And I got to tell you, top to bottom, it's as talented as I've seen at Penn State. But those 2 dudes in the backfield, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, feel like they give you a level advantage against almost anybody. Is there a number for which you're trying to get both of those guys rushes, carries, 150, 175 this season?
Yeah, I think it really depends, right? To your point, when you have Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, what is the defensive structure probably going to look like? We're probably going to have a middle-of-the-field closed defense with an extra guy in the box, which is going to create one-on-one opportunities on the outside. People are going to say, we're going to make a new quarterback beat us. We're not going to allow those 2 running backs to beat us. So I just think you got to be smart there. Obviously, we need the ball in their hands as much as we possibly can, but I also understand that defenses are going to go into this every week saying, we can't allow these 2 guys to beat us.
As a former play caller and wide receiver coach, tell me, if you can, how do you beat Manny Diaz's defense?
Yeah, so Manny does a great job in terms of taking away all of the easy yardage. Kind of reminds me back in the day of when I was at the University of Maryland. and you'd play Florida State with Mickey Andrews. It was press man. They were better than you at corner. They would overload the box. They had 2 defensive ends that could rush the passer, so they always had a numbers advantage in the box in the run game. And then they were playing press man on the outside, so it was hard to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly, which now allowed the defensive ends and the pass rushers to get to you. And that's kind of how we're built. Manny's done a great job. We're aggressive. I think it also helps us in the RPO game because when you're in zone coverage, people try to put you in conflict. So Manny's done a really good job, and I think it really fits our personnel that we have at Penn State.
Given what you accomplished last season, given what you have accomplished in 10 years at Penn State, Coach, I'm excited for what you're going to do in 2023. James Franklin, head coach, Penn State Nittany Lions, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 college football show.
Thank you very much.
I'm pleased to be joined by Nebraska head coach Matt Rhule. Coach, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. It's good to be on with you.
I appreciate you coming in, Coach, because frankly, I'm fired up for you being at Nebraska, but I'm going to ask it this way. Do you remember when Nebraska was the most feared football program in the country?
Yeah, absolutely, man. The 80s, the 90s, especially the 90s, even into 2001, 2002, like Nebraska was the team.
Is that the reason that you wanted to take this job?
Matt, I think it was a small piece of it, to be able, right, Matt, you think you're a program builder, that you like being on the front end and getting programs, upright, like go to Nebraska, like go to a place that's for 42 years was dominant and then has had 20 years, of kind of ups and downs and see if you can do it there. I really think college football needs Nebraska to be good. And so as a lover of college football, I was excited to get the opportunity.
Well, as an Oklahoma fan, I can tell you, I want Nebraska to be good, but that's because I ain't got to play them every other year like some of these teams in the Big Ten will have to. How did you identify Jeff Sims as a guy that you thought could help you get started at Nebraska?
When I was at Baylor, I was, longtime friends. One of my first jobs was with Jeff Collins. He was the head coach at Georgia Tech. So I went out and visited him and saw Jeff Sims out there practicing. And then getting into the NFL, I'm watching games on Saturday. I'm always watching my buddy Jeff play, coach, and I'm watching Jeff Sims. And I just see the potential. I see the ability. I see a winner. And when I got the job and we had some mutual connections that were able to reach out to him, I think Jeff, the sky's the limit for him. And so I was really excited when he wanted to come be a Cornhusker.
I know I'm getting ahead of you, Coach, and coaches want to go 1-0, but I've already circled Nebraska at Colorado on my schedule. Are you fired up for that game?
100%. I think that's an iconic rivalry. Coach Osborne versus Coach McCartney. Nebraska versus Colorado, number 2 versus number 3. That's college football to me. And so to have a chance to reignite that rivalry, to be a small piece of it. Again, I think it's good for Nebraska. It's probably good for Colorado, but I know it's good for the country. And obviously there'll be a lot of people watching it. So great opportunity for our team.
We've mentioned your reputation as a program builder, turning Temple into a 10-win team after starting 2-10, going to Baylor and turning them into an 11-win team. I'm curious, how do you manage to get all of these players going in the same direction and, frankly, to like each other as much as they do? I don't think I've ever seen a football coach so invested in having every last one of his players at the table at the same time as often as you do.
I think everyone wants to have a great offense. Everyone wants to have a great defense, great special teams, great play call. I also want to have a great team, and team is important to me. So we're always trying to build it, whether it's sitting together at a meal or playing paintball together or doing community service together or me making the guys practice really hard together. We share a lot of experiences, and you go from hey, I'm friends with him because we have a lot in common to you start respecting guys that maybe you don't have a lot in common with, but you respect where they came from. You respect what they've overcome in their lives. You get to know people, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And if you have a team that'll fight for each other, you always have a chance.
Having coached in Philly, coached in Waco, coached in Carolina, I'm curious, have you met a fan base quite like Nebraska's?
I don't think you can meet a fan base like Nebraska's unless you coached at Nebraska. You know, it's passionate, it's knowledgeable, it covers the entire state. And I've been in Mexico, I've been all over the country and outside the country, and I've had people scream "Go Big Red" to me. So it's an honor to be their coach and represent them when I can.
Do you feel any pressure from them to get them back to where they once were? Because they know what that feels like, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, Coach. You want to know what that feels like.
No doubt. No doubt. I feel a ton of pressure, 100%. Like I'm not too cool to say that, man. Like I feel pressure to bring the program back to where it should be, to honor our fans, to help our players have great experiences, and to win championships. I mean, like I've waited my whole life to be at a place like this, and so I know what Nebraska can be. I know what it has been. I just have to get it there. So while I feel the pressure, that's what makes me work. That's what keeps me going.
Defensively last year, Nebraska had a hard time stopping people running the football, and it's been a bugaboo for them for a couple of years now. I wonder who you have identified to help Luke Reimer and that defense help you stop people running the ball so much on Nebraska.
You know, we have a lot of guys up front that I like. You know, Ty Robinson's a returning D tackle, D end for us that's been a really good player. Nash Hutschmacher, big 330-pound nose tackle that's really diversified his game. And many more. You know, John Bullock's a guy that we moved to linebacker. Nick Henrich comes back off injury. So we got to Nebraska. We went out to camp. We put the pads on in spring, and we grinded old school. We ran, we hit, we tackled, we got off blocks. And so I think we have a lot of good players that are going to be good at stopping the run. We just have to go do it now. But I like our team, and we know that in the Big Ten you can't win if you can't stop the run.
How are you relating to players in this era of name, image, and likeness, the transfer portal, roster management, all these things that even 10 years ago, coaches did not have to consider?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always been a coach. I've been kind of a relational coach. I've always been a coach that, like, you know, has no problem sitting down with every player and loves sitting down with guys and talking about what they want and where they're headed and what they want in their lives. I try to keep it real. I try to be transparent with guys. So, you know, I think this environment's been good for me. You know, going to the NFL and dealing with guys, you know, are happy with their contracts, unhappy with their contracts. That prepares you for this as well. And you know, I've always said to myself, like, I can't control who transfers and who doesn't. But what I can do is have a program and a locker room that guys shouldn't want to transfer from. That cares about guys, that takes care of them. So, to me, if I have that, if I have a place that, you know, people want to be, if I have great relationships with guys, more players will be there than not.
The conference is deep already. It's going to get deeper next year when USC and UCLA join the conference. What do you say to folks that say Nebraska needs to get on the good foot in a hurry because, well, it's about to get even tougher than it has been?
Yeah, you know, we're not on anybody's timetable but our own. I think it's going to be great when USC and UCLA come in. You know, I'll be honest with you, I love kind of where we're positioned, you know, just geographically. Like, you know, teams from the West Coast are going to have to fly 5 hours to play teams on the East Coast and vice versa. So, like, we're in the center of the country. We have easy trips to, you know, sort of everywhere. So, but in terms of a timetable, like, what I know is there's no shortcuts, man. Like, you only get to sustained excellence by doing things the right way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build it and do it the right way and trust that it'll come. If it takes a little bit longer, so be it. But the Nebraska fans deserve to have someone do it the right way.
I'm interested in your relationship with your offensive coordinator, Marcus Satterfield, because it feels like one that it just dawned on me, it fits. I'm talking about a guy that I love to watch recruit because he would tell the kids straight up what he wants from them, how he thinks they can help him, and how he thinks they can help him. What did you look at when you went to go hire a guy like Marcus Satterfield to run your offense?
You know, Marcus and I were assistants together at Western Carolina. He was my OC at Temple. He was on my staff at Baylor when he came back to me. Was on my staff at Carolina. You know, he knows the way I want to play the game. You know, I'm not interested in stats. I'm not interested in numbers. I'm interested in winning. And so hiring a guy like Marcus, who I know is smart, intelligent, can put together great game plans, but also is always going to put the team first, Man, that's what I was looking for. So, when I was let go in Carolina, I was talking to him all the time as they were going through the stretch run at South Carolina, and had 2 memorable wins at the end, and wasn't sure if he would come. And when he came, I was really, really excited.
You were having that conversation with Marcus as you were sitting on your couch, and I got to ask, Coach, we all saw the buyout. What are you doing coaching Nebraska football right now as opposed to mowing your lawn? You missed the game that much?
Yeah, man, I love to coach. I mean, I'll coach till I die. I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be coaching high school, Pop Warner. I mean, I miss it. And I miss the college game too, man. I wanted to get back and be around this age group and these guys and feel like maybe we're having an impact in their lives. So, Julie did not want me at home. I did not want to be at home. And so Nebraska, here we come. And it's been great so far.
Well, I'm excited for this new era of Nebraska football. Like you, I think that the country is a better country when Nebraska is good, and I think the sport is all time when Nebraska is good. Nebraska head coach Matt Rhule, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 college football show.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to be joined by Nebraska quarterback Jeff Sims. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Excited to talk with you. First of all, you look sharp. For the podcast listeners, the man got on a 3-piece suit and all black with that nice Nebraska pin. You come into Big Ten Media Days representing what I think is a starved college football fan base. So when did you first learn that people are so excited to have you on campus because they can't wait to get back to winning football in Nebraska?
Man, like my second or third week here, I was out bowling with the guys, and a couple fans came up to us, and they was just really excited, and it was kind of cool to see. And the fans here, they're really supportive. So like they know every single player on the team, so it was really cool to see.
It's a different kind of culture in Lincoln, and they love football there. Has anybody referenced to you just how down the program has been given the last basically decade, and what it has felt like for them and what it feels like to have a coach like Coach Rhule who seems to get them from the jump?
Yeah, I've heard plenty of stories about how it's been, but Coach Rhule and I, we really don't like to look at the past. Our biggest goal and focus right now is what's right now and what's going forward. So I know our biggest goal is to get things going and just go out there and just win every game, 1-0 every week, and just go out there and play Nebraska football.
It's very clear to those of us that have seen you play at Georgia Tech that you are clearly very talented, but it's about putting it all together in one season. How comfortable are you with Coach Satterfield's offense and your ability to lead the team come September?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm very comfortable in Coach Sat's offense. Just learning it since I've been here, it's been really good to pick up on, and it's a very versatile offense. So just knowing different things about it, knowing every in and out of the offense, that's one thing that I've been focusing on this offseason, like making sure that I master the offense, making sure I know every little thing. That's going to help us this season, just knowing everything and making sure that everybody on the offense knows everything, and they've been doing a good job coaching that.
What has it been like for you to be coached by Coach Rhule? And I ask that because I got to see him at Baylor up close and personal covering the Big 12. He seems like a different kind of cat, and he seems uniquely suited for the challenge that Nebraska is.
Yeah. Coach Rhule is a very smart coach. He's super smart. He knows every little thing about football when it comes, like, he knows defense, offense. Like, he can literally be a position coach for any position. And I think that's something that stands out about him. We'll be at practice and we'll be doing routes on there, and he'll see something with our footwork or our mechanics, and he'll tweak it a little bit, and it'll make the biggest difference in the world. So just being around a coach like that knows the game like that, knows studies, it's really amazing to see.
What have been some of the team building activities that you all participated in? I ask because that's also part of Coach Rhule's playbook. He seems to be very good at getting all of y'all in the same room many times over.
Yeah, this offseason we've had plenty of team meetings, more than I've ever had. I remember we did when we was in off-season workouts in the spring, we had a day where we did stuff from different sports, and then we all came together in the basketball court and we just had a little dunk contest, played a little, some of the players played against Coach Rhule and Coach Nittany, and it was just a good thing to see. We went bowling with the team. We've been doing a lot of team activities just to build a brotherhood with the team and make sure all the guys is mingling and we're close. I know in the spring, every Thursday we had family dinner. That was really good.
What's the family dinner like? What's the meal?
So it really depends. So one day we have barbecue. It's different food every time, but families, the coaches, the players just come out, and all the whole team just there eating, mingling, talking with each other, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it.
How much are you looking forward to the challenge of playing in the Big Ten? It's a bit different than the ACC, but
Yeah.
I like to think that it's going to present you with some opportunities that you haven't had before.
Yeah, like you said, I look at challenges as opportunities, and I love them. I love being challenged. I don't really ever want anything to come easy because I like to put myself to the test. So I'm really excited about it.
My last one for you, Jeff. What do you want most for Nebraska this season?
I want us to get everything that we work for. We've been working really hard this offseason, and our goal, like I said earlier, is to go 1-0 every week, and that's what we're gonna do.
That's hard enough as it is, and I wish you great luck in trying to go 1-0 every single week, get Nebraska back on the good foot. We're all thrilled to see the program trending upward. Nebraska quarterback Jeff Sims, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 College Football Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching the #1 College Football Show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.